This is the statistics calculator set C, set of questions or worksheet. Let's have a look at what this worksheet looks like, and let's just go through this. Okay, if I get the pen up, and so this is the worksheet that you should be looking at. Make sure you're looking at set C, and let's make a start of it. The first question, the table shows the information about the annual pay of these 80 workers. Alright, so because they told us 80 workers, I know that the frequency, these number of workers, they're going to add up to 80 altogether. Looking at the question, it says calculate an estimate for the mean annual pay. So an estimated mean is what they want us to find. I'm going to immediately add on two columns, midpoint and midpoint times frequency. Okay, this one, it's not tricky, the numbers are just bigger. 10,000 and 14,000. The halfway point in that, what's halfway between 10 and 14? It's going to be 12, so it's 12,000. 14 to 16, halfway between that, it's going to be 15,000. So you need to be really careful as you go through these, right? What's halfway between 14 and 15? 14 and 16, it's 15,000. 16 and 18, that's going to be 17,000. 18 and 20, that's going to be 19,000. 20 and 40, that's going to be 30,000. So they're not all even there, and you really do need to be careful and pay attention to the groups and make sure you get the midpoints right. Some people think it's really easy. Make sure you get the midpoints right. Now do the timesing, right? Put a little time sign between each of those. We want to do the midpoint times the frequency, and be very careful when you're writing these down and working them out with your calculator. I would do this twice if necessary. We need to work out the total midpoint times frequency, so add them up. I'm going to get this number here is 1,190,000. I'm going to divide that by 80 to work out the estimated annual pay. That number is in pounds. You can put a pound sign in front of it if you wish, but it's 14,875 should be your final answer. Make sure you're able to do this in one go, and please make sure you understand how we got all the midpoints. Question 2, standard stem and leaf diagram, 14 students. Make sure you draw a key. Right, put the key in completely, and now the biggest value is 40 something, the smallest value is in the tens, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 for my stem, and now let's tick off and work out each of the values in the leaves part. So we're going to go through each of those, make sure you put them all in, and there we have it, this complete stem and leaf diagram. If you, at the end, you should have ticked them all off, right? So a neat little small tick. Don't obscure it or scratch it off completely. Make sure you can see the number underneath as you go along through there. Question 3 says find the median age. The median is the middle value. As we did before, there are 14 of them in here. 14, always add 1 and divide by 2. 14 add 1 is 15, divided by 2 is 7.5. So I need to find the 7.5 value, the value between 7 and 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So the 7th value is 23. The 8th value is 31. Remember I showed you before how to work it out. Add them together. That's going to give me 54 divided by 2 is 27. So 27 is my median. Really make sure you're able to answer the tricky ones like this. Question 4. The lowest value is 20, the median is 60, the upper quartile is 80, the lower quartile is 50. Now in this case they told us that the range was 100. So as we did the last time, remember the range is the biggest, take away the smallest. So if I want to work out the biggest value, add the range and the lowest value, I'm getting 120. Put my whiskers in there, draw the box, that's it. Make sure you're able to do that, make sure you're able to get full marks in it. The box doesn't need to be that wide. Looking at question 5, remember what I said. So the lowest value is my 0% marker. My lower quartile is my 25% marker. My median is your 50% point. The upper quartile is 75%, and your highest value is 100%. In this case, they said what percentage of students got less than 80 marks. 80 marks is over here, so that's 75% of students got less than 80 marks. Question 6 and 7 are the definitions. Make sure you know them. Make sure you can actually just write these out on command in an exam. So a random sample is a sample where each member of the population has an equal chance of selection. Question 7. Um, Explain what is meant by a stratified sample. A stratified sample is a sample where all the subgroups which make up the population are in the same proportion in the sample. All the subgroups which make up the population are in the same proportion in the sample. Question 8. As I read through question 8, it says the table shows the number of girls at 4 schools. A stratified sample of 80 girls is going to be taken. Once I see that word stratified sample, I'm going to write down the acronym now, new over old, times what you want. So the new value is 80, that's my sample. The old amount, well, I need to add up how many students there were altogether, and in this case it's 461. And what do I want? Calculate the number of girls from school C that should be in the sample. And school C has 201. So I'm going to do 80 over 461 times 201. Put that into your calculator. This will be on the calculator paper. Once you work it out, you need to round that to the nearest whole number. So to the nearest whole number, that's going to be 35 girls altogether. Okay. Make sure you are able to do this. A lot of you can, and you can do it with confidence. Make sure you can do this completely. Question 9. The table gives information about the time spent doing homework. Calculate the frequency density column for the table above. So I need to know that frequency density is frequency divided by class width. That is a fact that you need to know and you need to commit to memory. So class width of each of the classes are going to be 10 for the first one. 10 take away 0 is 10. 15 take away 10 is 5. 20 take away 15 is 5. 30 take away 20 is 10. And 50 take away 30 is 20. So that's my class width. The frequency density, remember, is frequency divided by class width. So 4 divided by 10 is 0.4. 8 divided by 5 is 1.6. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 20 divided by 10 is 2. And 5 divided by 20 is 0.25. Now you can use your calculator to do all of this, but make sure you do it in the right order. Frequency divided by class width. Now we're going to actually put together the histogram. Make sure you label the axes. So frequency density is always the vertical axis. And in this case, we're looking at time. So the horizontal axis, I'm going to put time there. Let's label these up. So the horizontal axis first, it's going from 0 all the way up to 50. So let's actually think about the scales that we're going to use and then work it out. Put little markers by each of the points. And you do this in pencil first. You might need to rub it off and check it again. But I want to use as much of the scale as possible to get from 0 to 50. And in the exam, they will allow you to do that. We want to use this other scale to go all the way up to 4. 4 is my biggest frequency density. In fact, I'm going to go like 0.5 every one of those gaps. So 0.5, 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Okay? So these are the groupings that I use. Now in this case here, every tiny square is going to stand for 0.1, which actually does make it easy. The first bar, 0 to 10, goes all the way up to 0.4, so 4 tiny squares. The second bar goes from 10 to 15, and it goes all the way up to 1.6. The next bar goes from 15 to 20, and that goes all the way up to 4. The next bar goes from 20 to 30 and goes all the way up to 2. And then the final bar goes from 30 all the way up to 50, and that goes up to 0.25. So be quite careful with that. Remember, as I said the last time, a lot of the marks in this question come from being precise, taking your time. And when you're drawing the the histogram, make sure you label the axes, make sure you label all the points, put little markers along the axes, and use a pencil and a ruler when you're drawing the bar. Okay, make sure you're able to do this. You should have had no problems with this. Make sure you are able to do all the questions before you do go on to worksheet D.